We are live on YouTube. Let's get it. Doing another DraftKings best ball draft on the live stream today. We couldn't be more dialed in. It is the peak of draft season. Half my high stakes leagues are behind me, half of them are ahead of me. What a time to be alive. We got week 1 player prop lines out for the vast majority of players. We are 8 days away from the first NFL game. Let's run it. And we get pick 3 in this draft. Great pick to be able to get to a lot of comments on this live stream. Love the early and late round picks for that reason. Yeah, this is absolutely right. No victory lapping this time of year. There's nothing that tilts me more in week 1 of the NFL season than the victory laps. In week 1 happens every single season in the fantasy football community. You will not see me victory lapping until I've won my league. That's when you victory lap. You won't see me victory lapping even when I make the playoffs. I expect to make the playoffs. So totally agree. Now is definitely not the time. This is not a mock draft. This is a real draft. We have been running some mock drafts in the WalterPicks Discord. Highly recommend joining. It's a free Discord, and there's some premium channels for the premium WalterPicks subscribers in there. And there's been some mocks filling in like 5 seconds in the WalterPicks Discord. Might run a few more of those this week. But this is a real draft. $20 on the line here in this draft. It's a PPR real draft over on DraftKings. These are the drafts I like to do to prepare for my draft because there's real money on the line. And that just, to me, makes it a little bit more realistic to what might actually happen in your real draft. It is best ball, so it's a slightly different format. But I got some bold takes for you guys on the live stream today. I'm going to talk through all of these on the live today. I think all of them are all caps bold. And the very first one, and I, by the way, these bold takes, obviously not all of them are going to come true because they're bold. They wouldn't be bold takes if all of them came true. But I do have reasons for all of these, and I am following this stuff in my own drafts. Like Trevion Henderson, this first bold take, that he'll be a top 10 fantasy football running back. For those of you that read the draft guide that I spent months putting together, you can find that in the WalterPicks app. Link is in the TikTok bio, in the YouTube description. I talk about Trevion Henderson in a couple different parts of the draft guide, because I talk about the Patriots being one of the biggest offseason changes from year to year. And then also just Henderson as a prospect. He is arguably the most explosive player that the Patriots have on the offensive side of the ball. You look at the James White target shares in his games, in his last 3 seasons with Josh McDaniels as OC. And it's not crazy to think that Trevion Henderson can rank top 3 in running back target share this season. James White's last 3 seasons in target share with the same offensive coordinator that Trevion Henderson now has would have ranked top 3 each of the last 3 years. If Henderson hits that, being top 10 is just not going to be that crazy. I took Trevion Henderson at the end of the second round in one of my drafts last night, 14-team league, but at the end of the second round, I took him. Not scared to reach on Trevion Henderson. The ceiling is clearly there, and I honestly think the floor is fine as well. I am very annoyed, though, that his price is steamed up as high as it is, that I have to reach for him in the second round now, because it was easy to get him in round 4 literally a couple weeks ago. Just a couple weeks ago. Shout out to everybody already in this live. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button if you're watching live on YouTube. If you're on TikTok, guys, smash the follow button. Come to the YouTube live, because I'm in a real live draft over on YouTube right now. First 7 picks just went in. I had the 3rd pick, and I got Saquon. I love getting pick 3 this year. Honestly, it's shaping up to be one of my favorite picks. I like pick 3. I really like all picks 1 through 7, but I like pick 3, 5, and 7, I think, the most. I think there's just really maybe 3, 6, and 7. Jefferson went 7 here. I'm getting Justin Jefferson at 7. It's just wild. Let me zoom in a little bit here for the YouTube live people to see the draft board a bit easier. But yeah, I will be doing a mock draft again on the live and reviewing some sleeper teams for sure. Lamb plus a 27 first for Jefferson. No brainer. Absolutely no brainer. I think I'd probably, Lamb and Jefferson in dynasties, they're pretty close. Yeah, this is always a tough thing, getting two guys on the same team. Who should I try to sell Hubbard for? Yeah, I'll get to the Hubbard take in a second, but you should be able to sell him for a decent amount at this point. And I actually think he could start the season really strong too. Like he actually might be a good candidate to hold on to through the first month and then try to sell. Because I do think the Panthers offense will be improved. I do think they have a pretty soft schedule to open the season. But Chuba Hubbard's he's not going to match his volume from last season. There's almost no chance. He was top 12 in rush attempts. He was top 12 in targets. Like total touches per game, Chuba Hubbard was in the top 10 of the league. Yeah, I just don't think the targets are going to be there. That's my biggest concern for Chuba Hubbard with Trevor Etienne and Rico Dowdle. Like they went out and they got 2 pass catching running backs in this offseason. But yeah, I don't mind. If you're going to get 2 receivers on the same team, like the only 2 receivers on the same team that I'd feel somewhat comfortable with is CeeDee Lamb, George Pickens, and Jamar Chase, T. Higgins. Like those are the 2. Those would be the 2. But yeah, I usually don't love it. But if you're going to go to the 2, you probably should just get the full stack with QB2. Is this PPR? Yeah, this is the PPR draft. I'll explain the settings here in a second. I'm about to be back on the clock. We went Saquon with the 3rd pick, and Jonathan Taylor's still sitting there. I think we kind of have to take him. We're going to go JT, and we'll start with a robust running back. I feel like I haven't done much robust running back on the lives this year. It's been almost all 0 running back. So this will be a fun one. I do like to mix in the different strategies because I'm doing a lot of these best ball drafts. So in this draft, in this league I'm in, this is a best ball league. So no start sit decisions. Best lineup is automatically submitted for me at the end of each week. There is 1 quarterback, 2 running backs, 3 receivers, and a flex, and obviously 1 tight end. And it's PPR. And there's bonuses for over 100 yards receiving, rushing, and over 300 yards passing. So it skews wide receiver heavy. I'm going to be starting to hammer receivers here up next. The receivers in this range of the draft, though, I do feel like are pretty sketchy. Did JSN just go? No, JSN hasn't gone. Oh, wow, he went 2nd round in this draft. Usually I'm looking at JSN around this pick. I definitely will take either of these guys. McBride, I'll consider. One of the QBs I can consider. Like, yeah, I don't want to force a Mike Evans pick here. I'm going to get one of these running backs. I'm going to start 3 robust running backs, and I'm not going to take another running back for the next 6, 7, 8 rounds. Any world did not take Chase at the 101. I think there's plenty of worlds, honestly. I don't think you can go wrong with the first pick. I don't think you can go wrong with the first 3 picks. That's part of the reason I like pick 3 the most. I just don't really have to decide. I'll just take Saquon, Bijan, or Chase, whoever falls. But I don't think there's a wrong pick, really, the first 3 picks, as long as you're going Chase, Bijan, or Saquon. Personally, I've been going Bijan at pick 1. There goes Tyreek. Jacobs versus Bucky. I think we got to go Jacobs here. Yeah, I think we got to go Jacobs here. All right, we start with 3 straight running backs. Wow. I don't know. I don't think I've had this 3 start in a single draft, so love to mix it up here on the live stream. We're just getting started, man. I think we'll probably have time for 2 drafts today. Maybe we'll try to do 3 if we're feeling up for it. Let me talk through some more of these bold takes here in a second. Who are your top 3 underrated players? Yeah, so let me just talk through some of my bold takes here as we get going in this live. So I just talked about TreVeyon Henderson. I took him in round 2, end of round 2 last night. I'm not afraid to reach for a guy whose ceiling is league winning. I mean, it's a league winning ceiling, and the floor for TreVeyon Henderson is like a back end running back too. That's his floor. He's going to have over a 10% target share in this offense, an offense that had arguably the biggest improved offensive environment from one year to the next. If it wasn't the Patriots, it was the Bears. That's part of the reason 2 of my bold takes here are about the Bears passing attack. I think Caleb Williams is going massively underrated in fantasy football right now. Not that this isn't getting attention. Obviously, the Bears offensive environment changes. It's getting attention, but I don't think people are accounting for it enough in fantasy football. And when you look at the Bears roster, it shapes up as one that is going to be extremely, extremely pass heavy. Their lead running back is DeAndre Swift, primarily a pass catching back. And then they have Roschon Johnson, who's been hurt all preseason, and a 7th round rookie running back in Kyle Monangai, who doesn't catch passes. Are they really going to be a run heavy offense with Kyle Monangai being their primary runner or DeAndre Swift being their primary runner? I think that would be extremely surprising. They bring in Ben Johnson this offseason, who has led his team to be top 5 in points scored in the NFL in back-to-back seasons. So Caleb Williams is going from he's going from a coaching staff that literally was not even reviewing plays with him, not even watching film with their rookie quarterback, to a coach who has been top 5 in points scored in back-to-back seasons. And obviously that's not all Ben Johnson. There's a lot of talent on those Lions teams that he was coaching, but man, I mean, you can't get a bigger coach upgrade than what Caleb Williams is experiencing. And then on top of that, they go out and they draft Colston Loveland and they get Luther Burden, who's not even going to be starting week 1. Rome Odunze's in year 2. DJ Moore's been an efficient receiver for many years in a row now. Like, this is one of the best supporting casts. It's one of the better coaching staffs. And it's still a really, really strong prospect. Caleb Williams was the first overall pick. Many people believed he was one of the strongest QB prospects we've seen in quite some time. And I still think that could be the case. I'm a little higher on Odunze than DJ Moore because their costs are a lot different. Like, you're getting Odunze 2-3 rounds later. But I like the whole Bears pass catching group. Odunze being my favorite, though. Like, I don't think the odds that Odunze or DJ Moore leads the Bears in receiving is that much different. But their costs are just so different that, I prefer that cost. Prefer Odunze. But that's where these Odunze and Caleb Williams takes are coming from. Wow, this guy went Josh Allen and Jaden Daniels. Don't love that move here in best ball. All right, we're going to be back on the clock here soon. We're going to have to start taking some receivers very soon. We're going to go Pickens, assuming he's there. Definitely will consider Egbuka as well. Yeah, we'll take Pickens as the first receiver. Very good start here to this draft. Saquon, Jonathan Taylor, Josh Jacobs, George Pickens out of the 3 slot in a 12-team PPR draft. I don't have Odunze ranked ahead of DJ Moore, but I definitely like him more at cost. I have them ranked really close. Like, to me, they should be really close in rankings. And in drafts, they're not getting drafted very close together. Maybe we go JMO here. JMO versus Egbuka. I think we go JMO. We're going to go JMO over Egbuka. Pretty close, honestly. In best ball, it's close. I'm definitely scared I don't have enough in Emeka Egbuka. His cost is getting so high in these best ball drafts. He's going way later in season-long leagues. Cade Otton popped up with a new injury today, too. He might not be ready for week 1. Jalen McMillan is maybe going to play like later in the season, like week 10 range, maybe. He might miss the whole season. He's got a neck injury. Those are never good. Chris Godwin's going to miss at least the first 3 games, and it easily could be more. Like, suddenly this offense that seemed like for most of the offseason was going to be a lot of target competition. I mean, almost no target competition for Puka. He could get 10 catches in week 1. Wouldn't be shocked. Yajma, it is the best time of the year, man. Can't get better than this. Why is Breece being drafted so low? Definitely happy to talk about this. If you guys are just joining the YouTube live, smash the like button, hit the subscribe button. We do appreciate it. We are doing fantastic. And people are scared about Breece Hall. He just went in the 5th round of this draft over on DraftKings. This is a PPR format too. They're scared because of Braylon Allen. People are scared of Braylon Allen. He's been getting a lot of hype really all preseason, and they think this is going to be a 2-way or 3-way committee because Isaiah Davis might mix in a little bit too. And I think the real risk for Breece is if Isaiah Davis takes any of the pass catching work in his backfield. I'm not as scared about Breece Hall, though, as other people. He's extremely, extremely talented. We know that the talent is there. We know the pass catching potential is there. This team is going to be one of the most run-heavy teams in the league, if not the most run-heavy team in the league. I think Justin Fields over/under passing yards in week 1 is around like 150. Todd, this was fixed this morning, actually. Chrome removed us from the Chrome store yesterday, but we're back in. We got this fixed, Todd. We got this fixed. Yeah, Egbuka in the 5. Yeah, this is why I like to do these DraftKings drafts. Best ball, again, it's a slightly different format with how it works, but like the positional rankings really shouldn't be that much different. And there's real money in this draft. It's a $20 draft, not a mock draft with no money on the line here. If you're watching live on TikTok, you don't know what I'm talking about. Come to the YouTube live. Link is in the TikTok bio. I'm in a live draft right now. But yeah, Ibuka should be going in the 5th round. He should be going at right around Jalen Waddle, Calvin Ridley, Devontae Smith, Jameson Williams. In the first few weeks of the season, man, until Godwin comes back, like maybe the first month of the season, Ibuka is going to be a top 20 receiver in PPR leagues. I personally don't always go with the top recommended player on the top of the WalterPicks app draft tool, but I also just have some of my own strong takes. Like if you have a strong take, or if the positional values are close, I think it's fine to veer off to the top recommended player sometimes. If you don't feel strongly though about your opinions, then going with the top recommended players is a smart move. I'm going Bijan with the first pick personally. I think it's Bijan, Chase, or Saquon. Those are the options, and there's not a bad option in my opinion at pick 1. But personally, I'm going Bijan. I think he's the safest pick in fantasy. He's basically Saquon in a slightly worse team environment, but like 4 or 5 years younger, and a better receiving role too. All right, we're gonna be back on the clock here. We got Travis Hunter up here. We're gonna go with him. Oh, that was not Travis Hunter. He got sniped. I rushed that. God, that is not. I think that literally might be one of the first times I've taken Laporta too. That is brutal. Chat, that is brutal. Oh, he got sniped. I thought for sure he was going to be there. Did not want a tight end yet. I think we're going to have to. Now we're going to have to take off later to get this stack and make this somewhat worth it. Oh, man. Top receiver, I'm not going with Rice. I think we got to go Diggs. Man, that was rough. I saw someone asking about auction drafts. Do you want to talk about that? Yeah, I have Kyren Williams on my do not draft list this year. He's one of the bold takes I got listed here as well. There goes Stephon Diggs. Man, Tracy goes. I think I have to take Olave. Adunze's gone. Yeah, we got to take Olave. Feels gross. Spencer Rattler starting week 1. We see players on bad teams be fine in fantasy football all the time, though. That's the whole rationale, I feel like, for Chris Olave. But yeah, Kyren Williams, like he's kind of a similar guy to Chuba Hubbard to me. He's getting drafted purely on volume, right? And you do want volume in fantasy. And Kyren Williams had great volume last year. Kyren Williams led the entire NFL in carries. No running back had more carries last year than Kyren Williams. I just don't think that's going to be true again. And he's got almost no receiving role. And Blake Corum's now in year 2. They drafted Jarquez Hunter in the NFL draft, who I do think is more explosive than Kyren Williams. Kyren Williams is just not the type of player I want in fantasy football. He had 2 runs over 20 yards last year, despite leading the NFL in carries. Like he's just not, to me, Kyren Williams, he's going to maybe, at like the best case for Kyren Williams in like round 3, where'd he go in this draft that we're doing right now? Yeah, he went round 3. I think he's going in round 3 in like almost every draft, almost every 12-team draft. The best case scenario is that Kyren Williams helps you not lose your league. That's not the way I draft. Like I'd much rather take Trevion Henderson than Kyren Williams. Because Trevion Henderson, I also think he can help me not lose my league, but he also can help me win my league. Like he's capable of 40-point games. That Kyren Williams is not capable of that. He doesn't have receiving role. Again, this is a PPR league too. Half PPR, non-PPR. I think it gets a little bit more reasonable. Yeah, I think it gets a tiny bit more reasonable. I would not drop Javonte Williams for Nick Chubb. No. Thoughts on Josh Downs? Yeah, I do like Josh Downs. He's been dealing with an injury, a soft tissue injury, but I think Daniel Jones starting is actually like pretty big for Downs. Probably bigger for Downs than any other player on the team. Josh Downs is a much better slot receiver than Wan'Dale Robinson. We've seen Wan'Dale Robinson have a legit role. I'm glad we got a Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt question here. I think this is a specific trade question. Trade Krosky-Merritt and Devontae for T. Yeah, I would do this. I'm not buying the Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt steam, like at all. Look, he just went in this draft in the 7th round of this draft. This is a real draft, $20 on the line. This guy's taking Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt, a 7th round running back in the 7th round. The actual starting running backs for the Commanders are going to go 3, 4, 5 rounds after in this draft. Like, what is the path for Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt to smash in fantasy if Chris Rodriguez is getting all the goal line carries and Austin Eckler leads the backfield in target share and Deebo Samuel gets carries too. And on top of that, we got Jaden Daniels projected to go for almost 1,000 rushing yards, like 800 rushing yards. Just like, I feel like he needs still multiple injuries to one injury to at least Eckler or Chris Rodriguez to have any chance to really like pay off big at this cost. And I think he's the most exciting running back in the backfield, but I really don't think he's even the starter, and he doesn't have the sort of defined roles that Rodriguez and Eckler have. Eckler led this running back backfield in snaps last season. I think he's probably going to do that again. I'm not burning a 7th round pick, man. I'm not buying him at this cost. If you can sell him at this cost, I'm selling. I'm on the clock here as I'm ranting. Oh no. Oh, it's not. Oh man. The rant got to me. I did not want Jalen Warren there. We're at two bad picks here in this draft because I'm locked into the live. We went Olave, and then we just took. I can't take another running back now. This whole draft. Keon Coleman's almost for sure going to get sniped. I will consider Downs. For most of the draft season, Downs was getting picked before Pittman. Downs picked up an injury, and now he's going after Pittman, but it seems like he's on track for week 1. Expects him to return to practice next week off the hamstring. I will take Coleman, though, ahead of... And we got to take Goff. Oh, man, Goff's so high up here in ADP, too. I might have to take him. Is anyone else really going to take Goff ahead of me? Maybe the person with Gibbs. He already has a QB. No one else has any... but the Amon-Ra. He's got Knicks. I might have to take Goff. Little tight end run here. God, that Jalen Warren pick and Laporta pick are just gross. And we're on the clock. I think I got to go Coleman over Goff. We're doing it. I think if I didn't take Warren, I would probably have been more comfortable taking Goff there. But that was our 4th receiver. Like, we're still way behind at receiver. You can start 4 receivers every week in this league. Like, we're gonna need 9 receivers on this team at least, maybe 10. All right, let's get back to the comments. Let's go back to ranting so I missed my picks. I'm doing great, Kylo. It's the best time of the year. Yeah, watch this would be amazing. Yeah, first place in this tournament gets $2 million, by the way. $20 draft for $2 million is what I'm doing right now. And at least when I do like mess up on the clock like that a little bit, it does make me draft some unique teams. I got to draft some unique teams because I have over 100 entries into this contest. Should I trade Bucky and Deebo for JMO and Henderson? Yeah, I probably would do this. I'm taking JMO over Deebo, and Bucky and Henderson I think are closer than people probably think. Do you think Jay Jetta's production will be affected by Thielen? Absolutely not. Guys, Justin Jefferson has the most receiving yards per game in NFL history. NFL history. Over 100 receiving yards per game for Justin Jefferson. Ain't no way. No, there's a way. Let me see if I can pull up the contest here and just show you guys the structure as I explain it. It is extremely hard, obviously, to win, but this is how it works. I will explain this real quick. Rules and scoring. Let's see. Where does it show the prize pool? Here we go. I don't think it shows it. Here we go. Contest details. Yep, here it is. Yeah, first place, $2 million. Second place gets $1 million. All the way down to if you come in like the thousands, you get $1K for your team. $20 draft. But you're up against how many people? How many people are in this contest? 882,000 teams in this contest. Huge tournament. I mean, extremely low odds. I need to come in the top 2 in this draft to advance to the playoffs. Obviously, that's doable. Even with a couple mess ups here in this draft, I can do this if I stack well and finish this draft strong. Then in week 15, I'm up against like 17 other teams that advanced out of their leagues, and I have to come in first or second. I think first out of that 17. And then it's the same thing in week 16. Oh, it's the top 2 in round 1 and then top. No, yeah, it's the top 1. It's two 12-team pods here on DraftKings. So it's a little bit more likely. So yeah, in week 15, I'm up against 11 other teams that were top 2 in their league, and I have to come in first out of those 12. Then I go to week 16 against people that advanced out of their week 15 groups, and I have to come in first again out of 12. And then week 17, you play everyone that's left. So you get against some stacked teams, some players with the same players as you in those later weeks. That's part of the reason you got to stack. And part of the reason I'm absolutely going to take Jared Goff with this next pick, even though in home league drafts, like he's on my do not draft list, I will not take Goff. But yeah, this is actually a 2 middle to first. I'm feeling like pretty gross, honestly. I really liked the start. I don't think any starts like this. Really rare. I'll take 3 running backs off the rip in a best ball draft, PPR, where I could start 4 receivers. Felt really good after these next 2 receivers. And then I did not mean to take Laporta. Thought I was picking Travis Hunter, who got sniped 1 pick before. And then I was rambling about Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt and accidentally picked Jalen Warren. All right, no way this guy takes Goff. He's already got 2 quarterbacks. Here we go. No one took Goff. We'll take it. We get the stack, even though we passed on it last time. You love to see it. We're getting back on track here. I think we got to keep going receiver. Oh man, the receivers look real bleak. I will take Mooney if he's there. Mooney avoided IR, so he's probably going to be back within the first 3 weeks of the season. Mooney was getting picked, by the way, in like round 8, round 9 before his injury, maybe even a little earlier. Really good best ball player. Like clear wide receiver 2 on the Falcons when he's healthy. When do you take a Dunze? Yeah, so in this draft I'm doing right now, a Dunze went in round 6. I think that like round 6, round 7 of your home league draft is pretty good at Dunze territory. Part of it, like he actually went, wow, he went really close to DJ Moore in this draft. Usually the gap between these 2 guys is bigger. God, I loved that I'm seeing starts it comments in the lives now. It's how you know we're really close. CD or CMC in a half PPR league. Pretty close, Ben. Definitely close. It's definitely close. I personally think it's, yeah, I mean, PPR, I think it's Lamb. Half PPR, I still probably lean Lamb, but it's definitely a close call. Half PPR usually skews a little bit more towards the running backs because of the touchdowns. Yeah, so Kyren Williams, he had 1,300 rushing yards last year, but he led the NFL in carries. He's not going to do that again. Like almost no shot that he leads the NFL in carries again. You got to be really careful with the player prop season-long overs because if they get hurt, the under just smashes. Like the unders hit at a ridiculous rate for these player prop season-long overs and unders. Yes, everyone should drop Judkins. Judkins and Joe Mixon should be on 0 teams. I'm still shocked to see them getting drafted. Judkins just went in the 11th round in this draft. I do not think he's going to play this season. And if he does play, it's going to be like deep into the season. Even if Judkins, the best case scenario for Judkins is he signs his contract today, which is not going to happen. He has literally not signed his contract yet. He's not even on the team yet. Hasn't practiced once. Say he signs his contract today. He still might get put on the commissioner exempt list. I know that the charges were dropped against him, which is obviously good for him, but the NFL operates under a different level of scrutiny, and they will still investigate the issue, even if the criminal charges were dropped. So I'm not even convinced he's going to be able to play even if he signs his contract. And I'm not even convinced he's going to sign his contract anytime soon. I mean, he's on really tough negotiating ground given the circumstances. If you have Judkins in Dynasty, you just got to hold because his value is at an all-time low. But yeah, in season-long drafts, like I don't get why he's getting drafted still. Like I guess people just aren't like Joe Mixon. Look, they got picked back-to-back picks here, just burning round 11 picks, just burning them. Just burn them, throw them in the trash, just worthless picks. Probably all year zeros here. Crazy stuff. This is why there's still an hedge in fantasy. All right, we're back on the clock here. God, I think we could go Pitts. We could go Pitts and then get Penix. JJ McCarthy has slid pretty far here. I don't think I can go McCarthy though. God. I think we got to go Pitts. Wait, Penix is already gone. Penix is already gone. No, we got to take him. God, we got Mooney too, but Penix is gone. God, I didn't realize that in time. I think we need another quarterback. I'm going to take McCarthy if he's there. I do like getting Bryce Young late in these drafts. Where did Penix go? Probably the guy with London. Nope. He went here. Completely unstacked. Michael Penix here. There goes Bryce. Yeah, we're going to have to take one of these QBs. I do have Josh Jacobs. Sort of a stack there. I mean, not a great one. The Lions played the Vikings in week 17. I usually don't like stacking the same game of quarterbacks together. I think we maybe can get... No, there's like no Packers left really at this point. But yeah, I think we got to go Love. We're going Jordan Love. We went with Pitts. I'm not going to lie. I really haven't taken a lot of Pitts this whole draft season. I've done more than 400 drafts, guys, at this point. Best ball across Underdog and DraftKings. But the more I start to think about it, and the more it looks like Mooney might not even play week 1, the more I'm like starting to talk myself back into Kyle Pitts just a little bit. New to WalterPicks, have my team connected to WP, but not sure where to go now. Preparing for draft tomorrow. Go to the draft tool. Actually, on this YouTube channel too, there's a playlist that there's a couple videos detailing how to use the draft tool as well. If you have any issues, email support@WalterPicks will help you out. Shout out to you for checking out the WalterPicks app, though. The absolute most unmatched tool for fantasy football. Fantasy football is so back. Football is back. The WalterPicks app is back once again. I am actually kind of high on Michael Penix this year. I spent months building the draft guide, writing up the draft guide in the WalterPicks app, where I talk about, honestly, a lot of the answers to a lot of the questions in the chat right now. And I actually do mention Penix briefly in that draft guide, not as a guy I'm targeting because he doesn't really have any rushing upside, but one of the bigger touchdown regression, like a very sneaky touchdown regression candidate. Michael Penix's touchdown rate last year was under 2%. League average is like closer to 4%. He was like if you doubled his touchdown rate last year, and he only played like 3 games, but if you doubled his touchdown rate last year, he still wouldn't have even been at a league average touchdown rate. He threw like only 1 or 2 touchdowns in 3 games. And he actually looked pretty good. He just kind of got unlucky in the touchdown column. They kept running in the touchdowns. So I think he's getting a little underrated for that reason. Stoked for the lives this year. Had Walter for years and looking forward to keeping it rolling. Let's go, man. I'm stoked for the lives, dude. These are my warm-ups for the in-season lives. Can't wait to get back to those too. Yeah, so like, Andy, you got to understand, I'm a dangerous person to ask this question to, because literally last night I took Trevion Henderson here in a draft. It was a 14-team league, so it was actually like closer to like this range. But I took him in the end of the second round in a 14-team league. Started Saquon, Henderson, T. Higgins. I started that draft. So yeah, I honestly, like, once you're into round 3, round 4 is the ideal place to really get it. Like round 4, round 5. Yeah, well, we did try to get it out a little earlier, but always takes some time to build it into the app and get it all reviewed. But definitely appreciate that feedback. We'll try to get it out earlier next year for sure. We're back on the clock here. There's not many QBs left. I think we gotta go Darnold here. God, this team's shaped up to be real gross, but I need 3 quarterbacks. Did Horton already go? Nope, he did not. 198 is his ADP right now. Can take Marquise Brown next if he's there. See if we get Horton on the way back. Golden or Tracy for Rice. That's a pretty fair trade. Marvin Harrison, a good pick. I do like Marv this year. I know some people are skeptical because he disappointed last year, but he disappointed with just like unreasonable expectations that everyone had for him. Yeah, well, a lot of the content in the guide is on videos across all the social channels. But want to try something different too with the written. Everyone likes different formats. A lot of hyper on Kraft this year. I'm hearing you still wanting Henderson over him in PPR. You're talking about Tucker Kraft? Yes, I want Henderson over Tucker Kraft. Yes, there's a lot of hype around Tucker Kraft, but yeah, he's a 10th round pick, 9th round pick. At that cost, I don't mind. But yeah, Henderson's just going to hold that different level of playing field. Yep, I do like Trey Benson as a pretty high upside handcuff for Connor, for sure. And James Conner is always one of the more underrated players in fantasy. He's been. I didn't mean Henderson. Yeah, he's been underrated for he's like the Tyler Lockett of running backs. All he's done is be a top 15 PPR running back for like 3 straight years, points per game wise. He's in the exact same situation now. They've been saying Benson's going to get more work, so I do think he is a good guy to draft as a handcuff. But realistically, James Conner is going to have to get hurt for Benson to smash. The league settings here. This is a PPR league, 2 running backs, 3 receivers, 1 flex, 1 QB, 1 tight end, and a whole bunch of bench spots. And this is a best ball format, so I do not need to make start-sit decisions in this league. My best lineup's automatically submitted for me at the end of each week. There's no adding, dropping, trading, nothing. All you do is the draft in best ball. Why do you like Torrey Horton so much? I wouldn't say I like him so much, but if I draft Arnold, I'm going to try to get him. Because in best ball, stacking is huge. It's a huge tournament. So I got to separate from a lot of teams. But I do think he's going to have a real role now because Scantling got cut. Scantling, he was competing really, I think, with Scantling for the most part for the boundary role on this offense. Dealing with an ankle injury is clearly not too significant. But yeah, he's wide receiver 3, but the other 2 wide receivers, obviously JSN, he's going to be an absolute stud. One of the safest picks in fantasy right now. Cooper Kupp, I'm a lot more skeptical about because he looked really bad down the stretch last season. And the Rams really seemingly weren't super interested in bringing him back. But both those guys don't really profile similar, like the same type of player that Horton is. We didn't move Tet too much up in the rankings off the Thielen news. I do think it makes him like just a slightly better pick than he was before. He was already a good pick though. To me, like the Thielen stuff, it moves Coker and Leggett up like a lot. They're both locked into almost every down rolls. And there goes Horton. Of course, gets sniped. I don't think there's basically any Seahawks players I could possibly draft now except maybe some dusty tight ends. I only have 1 Packers running back too. I mean, this is a tough stacking situation I put myself into here. We will take Coker here. Definitely think that this Thielen trade is really, really big for him. Pick 195 we're coming up on. Took Marquise Brown. Just not going to be my best stacked team here. I think it's a little less important on DraftKings than it is Underdog because of the scoring. We got 4 picks left. Need to keep taking receivers. Tavian Wicks has got to be in the cards for me later. Take Malik Washington here. He seems to have won the wide receiver 3 role for the Dolphins. And with Tyreek kind of teetering still, like if Tyreek ends up bottoming out, Malik Washington's going to have like a legit fantasy relevant role. Yeah, I think he's intriguing for Dynasty. I don't think Thornton, though, especially with the Amari Cooper signing, Thornton, Trey Tucker, like I don't think either of these guys are like fantasy relevant, really. Keep sleeping on Kyren. Yep, I will. You can keep drafting Kyren and just trying to avoid last place in your leagues. If that's the way you want to approach it, that's you. If you have a really bad last place punishment, totally reasonable. But for me, even in the leagues where I got bad last place punishments, I'm going for first. And Kyren Williams is not going to help you get first place. Last year, Kyren Williams led the NFL in carries, still finished just running back 10 in points per game, had 16 TDs, didn't win leagues. Like, we just saw the ceiling for Kyren Williams. He led the NFL in snap share, led the NFL in carries, had the 4th most touchdowns in the league, had an 8% target share. Like, none of that's going to happen again. Blake Corum is going to be more involved. They drafted Jarquez Hunter, who's more explosive than him. Kyren Williams had 2 runs over 20 yards last year. Kyren Williams had 1 game over 25 fantasy points last year. 1 game. Like, just not going to win you weeks. He's going to help you not lose weeks. Again, like he's got somewhat of a floor because of the volume. There's just not a real ceiling. There's just not a real ceiling here for Kyren Williams. And you throw in the risk of Matthew Stafford's one hit away from just being done with the back stuff. So yeah, I'm fully out on Kyren Williams. Can I please hear your quick thoughts on why you're so high on Rome Odunze? Yeah, these are the types of bets I'd like to make in fantasy, unlike the Kyren Williams situations. Where Rome Odunze, like if you did read the draft guide, I talk about every year in fantasy football, these massive shifts from year to year in offensive team environment go overlooked. Last year, it was Saquon going from a bottom 5 Giants offensive line to a top 3 Eagles offensive line. People just weren't factoring in how seismic of a shift that was from year to year. Saquon last year was getting pick 10, 11, 12 in fantasy drafts, despite just being in a massively different situation. And I think that is probably the Bears this year. They're going from an awful coaching staff that literally was not even reviewing film and going through plays with their rookie first overall draft pick to Ben Johnson, whose offenses have been top 5 in points scored for 3 straight years. They also drafted Colston Loveland in the first 15 picks of the NFL draft, who's a very good receiving tight end. And they drafted Luther Burden, who's seemingly not going to start right away, but I still think is pretty underrated receiver and has a really, really high ceiling. They also, their primary running back is a pass catching running back. Like this team is not going to run the ball at a super high rate. Rome Odunze, his role in the slot last year also, wow, Tajay Spears is still here. Man, how many running backs? I only have 4. I'm going to take him. He's going to play this season. Yeah. I don't really care if he's going to miss the first 4 games. The first 3 running backs I took will take care of that. All right, now we're going to go receiver. I think we already have 2 tight ends. And yeah, we kind of are relying on Laporta here anyways. Maybe it makes sense for me to go. No. Yeah, we got to go receiver here. Someone took. No, nobody took him. Yeah, Dontavian Wicks is here. All right, we're going to go Wicks first, and then we'll take someone else with the last pick, at least get one receiver to stack with Jordan Love. But yeah, Odunze also, he played only 20% of his snaps from the slot last year. I really think that's going to increase. And when you think about how bad the coaching staff was last year, I liked Odunze a lot as a prospect. I think he's still a really good and talented receiver, and he was just used really, really poorly last year by a really bad coaching staff. And the thing that Ben Johnson excels at is getting the most out of his best players. And a lot of people, I think, are making the mistake to think that they're trying to match the Lions offense to the Bears offense. Like, who's going to be in the Amon-Ra role? Who's going to be in the Jameson Williams role? The Jahmyr Gibbs role? And I just don't think it's going to be like that. I think that the best NFL coaches scheme their offenses around their best players. So it's not going to be the same role. For the Bears, there's going to be a Rome Odunze role and a DJ Moore role and a Colston Loveland role. It's going to be a little bit different. But yeah, I think all these guys are going to be set up to succeed with a much better offensive coaching staff. And again, I'm really high on Caleb Williams as a prospect still. And yeah, if they move Odunze in the slot, man, I mean, no one has gotten more production out of slot receivers than Ben Johnson. Thoughts on Brian Robinson Jr.? What's wrong with Chuba Hubbard? Yeah, Chuba Hubbard's like similar to Kyren Williams. I like him a little bit more than Kyren at their costs. I'll get to this Brian Robinson question here in the YouTube too. But Chuba Hubbard ranked like right around top 12 in carries, right around top 12 in target share last year. And I don't think he's going to be able to match that. He didn't run it quite as hot in terms of touchdowns. And I think that he could probably score more touchdowns this season on an improved Panthers team that I actually think the offensive line is pretty underrated for the Panthers. Chuba Hubbard in the draft, I'm doing live on YouTube right now. He went in the 5th round. First pick of the 5th round. He's like a 4th round pick this year. But I don't think he's going to be able to come anywhere close to that target share. He had almost a 12% target share last year, which is like pretty solid. I think it's going to be probably under 7-8% this year. They went out and specifically brought in 2 pass catching running backs to complement him this year. Rico Dowdle and Trevor Etienne, both better pass catchers than Chuba Hubbard. So yeah, I'm in almost exclusively PPR leagues, just not the type of bet I want to make on a volume-dependent non-pass catching back. I'd much prefer taking Travion Henderson, like a full round ahead of him, like he went in this draft that I'm doing. Like in this range of drafts, the other thing for Chuba Hubbard and Kyren Williams to some extent, like this range of drafts, I'd love the receivers going in this range of drafts. Like round 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 is really when I want to be hammering receiver in home leagues. Take 1 or 2 running backs in the first couple of rounds, and there's so much value at receiver. And then I can go late round QB, late round tight end. There's a bunch of high upside running backs I like later in the draft too. Guys like Tootin, Ollie Gordon, Trey Benson, Braylon Allen. I think Bashaw Tootin's shaping up though as probably my favorite late round running back. But yeah, I saw someone asking about Brian Robinson Jr. He did get taken in this draft here in round 11. Not the person that got Christian McCaffrey. But yeah, I mean, I think he does profile worse for fantasy. We're about to be on the clock. Let's see what receiver we should take. Wow, we got Josh Reynolds ranked at the highest right now. He is the wide receiver 2 on the Jets. I think we're going to have to take Josh Reynolds. Tariq Owens is getting drafted. Wow. All right, we're going to do one more. We got one more in me. I think we can do one better than that. Wow, it's already filled. Let's go. I got to start building up the stamina for the Sunday morning lives. But yeah, so Brian Robinson Jr., like, he's a handcuff now. He wasn't handcuffed before. But if McCaffrey does miss time, like, yeah, he's in a way better spot, I think, than the Commanders. The 49ers is just a great spot to be as a running back. Straight up, I don't prefer Odunze over DJ Moore, but at cost, I do. Usually there's like a 2-round gap between the two, and I think that it's like pretty close. I think it's pretty close. Like, I don't think it's like obvious that one of them is going to be better than the other. I would lean towards DJ Moore again, straight up, but like they're really close in my mind, and their costs aren't that close. They actually were picked really close together in this last draft I did, but in most home league drafts that I've been in, most home league drafts that I think you guys will be in, they're not going to get drafted right next to each other. They're going to get drafted multiple rounds apart, and they probably should be getting drafted like pretty close to each other. So it's just easier. It's easier to get a Odunze, and he's lower risk, of a cost. Thoughts on Worthy with the Rice news? Yeah, there's like some serious whiplash with this Rice news. I mean, like literally a week ago, we got a seemingly a legit update that he's not going to be suspended to start the season. He's going to get some type of hearing, after the first month. And then suddenly, bam, he's suspended 6 games right at the beginning of the season. And I think this is better for Rice than the previous situation. We got pick 3 again. We're running it back at pick 3, by the way. We're doing a live draft over on YouTube. If you're watching live on TikTok. If you're watching live on YouTube, guys, smash the like button, hit the subscribe button. If you're watching live on TikTok, hit the follow button, come to the YouTube live to see a real $20 live draft happening. If you guys have not checked out the WalterPicks app yet, you got to check it out. There's absolutely no excuse to not be using the WalterPicks app to dominate drafts this year. So many advanced stats that you're getting for free in the WalterPicks app. You can see ADP comparisons for literally every single player across every platform. And we're gonna get Saquon again. I think we got Saquon last time too. Maybe we should mix it up and go Lamb. We're gonna mix it up and go Lamb here. I don't want to start with the exact same one in the same live. I feel like I've gotten a lot of Saquon too, not as much Lamb in this PPR 4 wide receiver format. But yeah, if you're watching live on TikTok, it's a better viewing experience on YouTube. I will answer comments throughout from both live streams. Yes, we're getting a lot of Khalil Mullings. I think it's Khalil Mullings, right? That's how you pronounce his name. I think Chestnut's probably ahead of Mullings. Chestnut played in all 17 games for the Titans last season. We were just looking at this on the projections team. Part of the reason, too, that the WalterPicks app is so powerful is we have a full-time projections team looking at the finest grain details of everything that goes into trying to project NFL teams and players every single day. Like, we updated for the Rashee Rice suspension within minutes in the WalterPicks app. You're just not going to see that anywhere else. But yeah, we were literally talking about Chestnut versus Mullings today because Tajay Spears is going to be out the first 4 games. And yeah, I mean, I don't think either of these guys are exciting, to be honest with you. I think Spears is definitely better than both of them when he's back, too. And even if Tony Pollard went down, like, would one of them really get like this huge workload? I'm not convinced about that. Sean Tucker, DJ Giddens, and Brooks, I'm in on those guys, though. Definitely can see that. We'll see if Rachaad White plays week 1. DJ Giddens and Taj Brooks are definitely 2 of my highest rostered best ball running backs right now. Like both those guys. Trade JSN for McLaurin? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Thoughts on Nick Chubb? Yeah, I didn't put Nick Chubb on my do not draft list this year. I do have, I tried to be pretty aggressive with the do not draft list this year. If you guys missed it, it's up on the TikTok live. It's also in the draft guide in the WalterPicks app. But I tried to be aggressive with guys that are getting drafted as starters in fantasy leagues. That's why I didn't even consider Nick Chubb on the list. But I don't think I've taken Nick Chubb like a single time in hundreds of these best ball drafts. It's just not a guy that I'm excited about. I'm rooting for him because he's coming off such a brutal injury. He's one of the best pure runners in NFL history. One of the best pure runners in NFL history, Nick Chubb. But he's coming off a brutal injury that he did not look the same from last year. I think he'll be a little bit better from an efficiency standpoint comparison to himself last year, but he's running behind probably the worst offensive line in the NFL. Like the Texans had one of the worst offensive lines in the NFL last year. Here we go. Now we can get a real wide receiver build going. I have not taken much AJ Brown. What's the latest on him? He doesn't have the Q tag on anymore. Is he back at practice? Pre-game workout. Take AJ Brown here. Go with one of these guys if they're there. And get a 0 running back team going here after going pretty running back heavy before. But yeah, Nick Chubb, like, he's not going to catch many passes. Not going to be the primary pass catching back. Dameon Pierce seemingly is going to be a little involved on the ground as well. And then they also have Woody Marks to catch passes. But I'm not convinced this team is going to be able to run at all. They have the least talented offensive line in the NFL after being like maybe the worst offensive line in the NFL last year. And somehow they're even less talented. Like, they didn't bring back anyone, and they didn't really bring in anyone exciting. So I'm pretty nervous for the whole run game. And honestly, the whole offense for the Texans to some standpoint. I still think Stroud is maybe a little underrated, and Nico Collins is still a guy I like a lot. But yeah, I'm very, very uncertain about how this offensive line can hold up, and that doesn't seem good for Nick Chubb, who also is not going to catch passes in PPR leagues. Who do you take the first 3 picks, second pick? Yeah, so it's Chase, Bijan, Saquon. Those are the 3 guys you got to be considering. We're going to go JSN here. Start 3 receivers. Love this start in his best ball format. If Jalen Hurts is there at the next pick, I will take him. He definitely does slide that far sometimes. Me personally, I think the order should go Bijan, then Chase, then Saquon. It depends on your league, though. Like if the running backs go really early in your league, which a lot of mine do, then I think going Saquon and Bijan over Chase is fine. There's really not a bad pick in the first 7 picks. There's really not. All 7 of these guys that went in the first 7 picks here, this is the right 7 players here to go in the first 7 picks. You'll know your league is legit, by the way, if these in any order are the first 7 picks. There's like a really good way to tell how legit your league is this year. If the first 7 picks are Chase, Bijan, Lamb, Gibbs, Barkley, Jefferson, CMC, then you're in a legit league. All 7 of these guys, we could look back and say, yep, that should have been the 101. When isn't crazy. Like none of these guys are crazy to be taking within the first 3 picks. But yeah, in my opinion, the first 3 picks, first tier of these 7 guys is Chase, Bijan, Saquon. And I would go Bijan, Chase, Saquon. But I'm also usually drafting in leagues where the running backs go so early. And I just feel better with how my teams shape out when I go running back early. Kyren and Waddle for Josh Jacobs, pretty fair. Caleb Williams or Bo Nix. Yeah, it's definitely close. Bo Nix runs more. There goes Trevion Henderson in the 3rd round. I think someone was saying Hampton versus Henderson in a keeper league. Yeah, it's close. Super close. I still probably... Oh, man, it might be Henderson. I probably lean Henderson, but the answer should be Hampton, but I still think I probably lean Henderson. I think the receiving upside of Henderson is just, it's not comparable to Hampton. I don't know if Hampton's going to catch passes like at all. He might not really have a pass catching role. He's a capable receiver based on his college numbers, but I'm not sure if that's a role he's really going to have for the Chargers. Whereas Henderson, like I'm very confident in the receiving role for him. Aziz, email us here at support@walterpicks.com. We can help you out. I assume that was in ESPN. Yeah, this is an unreal start. I love pick 7 this year. Getting CMC in pick 7 feels like a cheat code. I don't know who you're talking. Oh, Taj Brooks, you're saying. Yeah, I do like Taj Brooks a lot. And Taj Brooks is on a way more exciting offense. But yeah, I don't think Mullings is ever really going to be in like a workhorse role. Taj Brooks like could be. Only see 2 good squads. Both these teams are pretty strong. See what I can piece together at running back here as the draft goes on. Well-timed mute there, so I didn't sneeze right into everyone's ears. All right, we're back on the clock. McLaurin's still sitting there. I think we just got to keep hammering receiver here. I think I'm going to go Pickens and try to get Dak. The Dak, Pickens, Lamb stack. I don't think I have that very often here. Not afraid to start 5 wide receivers in this format either. Breece is kind of interesting too. You start a 0 running back build, 4 straight receivers. You still just get Breece Hall in the 5th. I think we're people are pushing Breece down too far. Man, this guy went 4 receivers too. We got 3, 4 receiver team. He went 5. I think we got to match him at 5. Man, we're both just going to be hammering running backs at the same time, though, in the same part of the draft board, which is not ideal. I think we got to go Breece. He went Devontae Smith. Taking Breece. All right, so we start Lamb, A.J. Brown, Jackson Smith and Jigba, Pickens, and then Breece Hall. Don't hate it at all. Honestly, I feel like a stronger start than my last draft. Yeah, that's fair. I would be probably less surprised to see Marion Hampton be a first round pick next year than Trevion Henderson. Totally fair. And Hampton's definitely ahead of him in dynasty rankings. I just think the receiving potential is not the same between the two guys, assuming it's a PPR league too. Is it crazy to go Gibbs over Saquon? It's not crazy. I wouldn't do it, but I honestly don't think any order of these first 7 players is that crazy. Like, it's really not that crazy to go Jefferson or McCaffrey or Gibbs ahead of Saquon or Lamb or Bijan or Chase. It's not that crazy. Again, I wouldn't do it, but it's not that crazy. Yeah, so Benji, I talked about this already, but I can hit on it again. Why I'm out on Kyren, why I'm out on Chuba Hubbard. These are 2 of my more bold takes this season. And they're actually, it's pretty similar reasoning. Both guys had huge volume last season. Kyren Williams led the NFL in carries. Chuba Hubbard was top 12 in carries and targets. Both these guys were, I think, top 6 in snaps last year. Kyren ran a little hotter on touchdowns than Chuba Hubbard did. I think he had 16 touchdowns. Was it 14 or 16 touchdowns? He had 16 touchdowns last year, Chuba Hubbard. So Chuba Hubbard, he leads the NFL in carries. He gets 16 touchdowns. He still doesn't win leagues. He still finishes just 10th in points per game. He had 1 game over 25 fantasy points last year. He had 2 runs, despite leading the NFL in carries, 2 runs over 20 yards last year. Just not the type of guy I want to draft in fantasy. Chuba Hubbard didn't run bad in touchdowns either. 11 touchdowns for Hubbard, 16.1 points per game. Yeah, he was 3rd in snap share. Kyren was 1st in snap share. Chuba Hubbard was 1st in snap. Sorry. Yeah, Kyren was 1st. Chuba Hubbard was 3rd in snap share last year. I don't think either of them come close to those numbers this year. I think Blake Corum and Jarquez Hunter will mix in a bit more this year. I don't think Kyren Williams is suddenly going to be more explosive than he's been. Like, there's just not a huge weekly ceiling for Kyren. He's more of a, I'm trying not to lose my league and lock in. You want to lock in like 15 points, 12, 15 points every week, a safe 12, 15, then you take Kyren Williams. It's not the way I draft. I want guys that can win my league with every single pick. And it's a similar thing with Chuba Hubbard. Honestly, that the competition, though, for Chuba Hubbard, it's even more concerning than it is for Kyren Williams. The costs are obviously a little bit different. If we're looking at this draft I'm doing right now, Kyren Williams went in the middle of the 3rd. Chuba Hubbard went in like the middle of the 5th. So he's cheaper, so he's less risky for that reason. And I do think the Panthers offense will improve. Like, I wouldn't be shocked at all if he matches or beats that 11 touchdowns from last year. I'd be surprised if Kyren Williams matches his 16 touchdowns from last year, especially with the Matt Stafford back injury risk. But I'm not convinced Chuba Hubbard is going to catch passes this year. He had almost a 12% target share last year, again, after being number 3 in snap percentage. And then the team shows us what they want to do in the offseason. They go out and sign 2 pass-catching running backs. They draft 1 in Trevor Etienne, and then they sign 1 in Rico Dowdle, both who are better receiving backs than Chuba Hubbard, more efficient receiving backs than Chuba Hubbard. See, I don't want volume-dependent running backs that aren't going to catch passes on my teams. That's the case against Chuba Hubbard and Kyren Williams. All right, we're back on the clock here. I kind of want to reach for Dak. God, I think I need to just reach for him and just lock it in. I'm just going to lock it in. I'm not risking it on the way back. Definitely a reach, but I have not gotten much Lamb Pickens, Dak stacks here in these tournaments, and I definitely want to mix those in. That was like 16 picks ahead of his ADP, but I'm up in 17 picks. Couldn't risk it. The QBs sometimes go crazy in these drafts. Yeah, I'm not drafting Hubbard or Kyren. This is fair. It's definitely fair. Like, I feel a little less strong about the Hubbard one than Kyren too, because he's going 2 rounds later. Like, the cost to get him is better, and I do think his offense is taking a much bigger leap year over year than the Rams offense will take. The offensive line is honestly like really underrated too. Again, though, like, if you're not going to catch passes, you're just not a guy I'm going to be drafting. And the other thing for Hubbard, though, that's tougher even than Kyren, I mean, both, it really is an issue for both. But like this range of drafts, man, I love the receivers going in round 4, 5, 6. Like I want to be taking receivers in rounds 4, 5, 6. And this isn't even really a Chuba Hubbard thing. It's the other receivers available. And you got to think about the opportunity cost of each of your picks. Like you're passing on potential league winning receivers for a running back that I just do not think, like to win leagues, Chuba Hubbard's going to have to score 20 touchdowns if he's not going to catch passes. Love that, Benji. I do recall that, Benji. Who should I pick at 11 in a 12-man PPR? Yeah, this is a tough thing to answer because it's hard to say for sure who's going to be there at pick 11. Getting an Ertz, Pitts, or Strange week 1 question. I will talk about Brenton Strange here in a second. You can see who was picked around this spot of the draft here in this PPR draft. Neighbors is probably gone. Nico is probably gone. Amon-Ra is maybe gone, but all three of those guys are good picks there. I'm fine taking Genty in Henry. I haven't found myself getting them very often because I do prefer these receivers a bit over him. Brian Thomas Jr. and Puka and London are all guys I like a lot too. And Achan's just a risky pick right now with a calf injury. But yeah, if I don't get one of the top 7 players that were taken in this draft here, I want Neighbors and I want Nico. I think I have Brian Thomas Jr. ahead of Amon-Ra. I'd probably take him over Amon-Ra. I'm not that scared about Stafford with Puka, but it's like a decent tiebreaker to just take Amon-Ra over Puka. I love Drake London this year. He projects right now as our wide receiver 1 in the WalterPicks app for week 1 with Darnell Mooney projected out. Totally fine with this, yeah. I'm not scared at all to have Harvey as my running back too. Yeah, I do like going running back early. Yep. Because I love the mid-round receivers. And there's just a clear tier of running backs that you just can't find later in the draft. And everyone else starts reaching for running backs. Like once Trevion Henderson's off the board, honestly, I turn my eyes to the receivers. And I am interested in Harvey where he's going. James Conner's not a bad pick. I don't think Breece Hall is a terrible pick where he's going. He's really falling in a lot of drafts. There's at least like a talent profile here, a receiving profile here. Justin Fields actually does throw to the running backs a lot more than people realize. Like he's been near the top of the league in running back target share. I think Breece Hall is the second best receiver that the Jets have too. You look at the Jets depth chart, it's a complete joke. After Garrett Wilson, you're looking at a rookie tight end who like some people are excited about, but he's still a rookie tight end. And then Josh Reynolds is wide receiver 2. And don't even ask who wide receiver 3 is. Justin Fields at quarterback 2. Like the passing attack, the Jets are the odds-on favorite to be dead last in the NFL in passing yards. But still, Breece should have like a legit target share and get a bulk of the carries, even if Raylan Allen's playing too. I took Breece Hall in the draft I'm doing right now. Yeah, look at all these QBs that were taken after I took Dak. Definitely kind of glad I reached there. We snagged Travis Hunter correctly this time as well as our 5th receiver in this 0 running back build we got going. I don't hate taking both these guys. Sharp is definitely a good 0 running back target. Jordan Mason's not a bad 0 running back target either. We already have JSN though, so I don't really want Sharp if I already have JSN. I think we go Caleb Johnson this time. And I will take Warren also. I'll talk a little bit about that. Now, I do want to talk about Brenton Strange because I saw someone ask a start-sit question about Brenton Strange. If you guys are watching this YouTube live right now, guys, smash the like button, hit the subscribe button. It does help me out way more than you realize. Seriously, it takes 2 seconds, helps out a ton. If you're watching live on TikTok, smash the follow button. If you guys have not tried the WalterPicks app yet, I do not know what you're waiting for. You are actively at a disadvantage in your fantasy league if you aren't using and trying the WalterPicks app. I definitely would take the Bowers pick inside of that McLaurin with the Warren trade. What do you think? What do you think I'm capping about here with these bold takes? Yeah, I'm starting Henderson over Dobbins pretty easily week 1. And I think we go Jalen Warren here. I don't hate taking both these guys. The Arthur Smith offenses have been really rough for fantasy. Like, he never gives his best players the role that you think they should get. In this case, that's Caleb Johnson. Caleb Johnson is the best, most exciting running back on this team. He was actually a pretty good receiving back in college, and like fits really well with the zone rushing scheme that Arthur Smith should run. So far this preseason, though, he's playing behind Jalen Warren and behind Kenneth Gainwell. Like, Kenneth Gainwell, it could easily outtouch Caleb Johnson in week 1. Wouldn't be surprising. But you look at the Arthur Smith offenses, they've ranked top 5 in carries for like 3 straight years. Like, the Steelers are probably going to rank top 10 in carries this season. So that's part of the reason I don't hate just grabbing a couple of them. And I could easily take Kenneth Gainwell also later in this draft. And between the 3 of them, there's going to be plenty of usable weeks for the 0 running back team. Steelers are another one similar to Jets. Like, who's the wide receiver 2? Who's the wide receiver 3 on this team? They got 2 real tight ends and DK Metcalf. Really weird, like, construction of a team there for the Steelers. All right, thoughts on Brenton Strange. Yeah, I'm glad someone brought me back to Brenton Strange. We sent a newsletter out from the WalterPicks team about who our ride or dies are this season. And my answer was Brenton Strange, who, one of my bold takes here is that Brenton Strange is going to be a top 10 tight end in fantasy football this year. Definitely see that in his range of outcomes. Let me pull up what I wrote here about Brenton Strange. Yeah, so my ride or die this season is Brenton Strange. He's actually been one of my most, if not my most drafted player across the hundreds of best ball teams that I have drafted this year. There's not much pass catching talent behind Brian Thomas Jr. and Travis Hunter. After Brian Thomas Jr. and Travis Hunter, who are obviously really strong, top 2 receivers on a team, Brenton Strange is competing against De'Ami Brown, Parker Washington, and the running backs for targets. Like, he could easily be the number 3 target share earner for the Jaguars. Brenton Strange, we only saw 3 games. So we saw 6 games last year where Brenton Strange had at least 3 targets. 6 games. He was not in an every down role all season last year. Brenton Strange. We saw 6 games though where he had at least 3 targets. I think he's getting at least 3 targets in almost every game this season. In 5 of those 6 games, he had at least 10 PPR points. 5 out of the 6 games where Strange shot just at least 3 targets, he went over 10 PPR points. And right now he's free. He's free in drafts. I mean, I can't believe how low he is still on ESPN and on Yahoo. I haven't done a sleeper draft super recently, but I think he's really low there too. Like, he's after some ridiculous names. Getting drafted after Pat Freiermuth, who might not even be the number 1 tight end on his own team. He's free. He's available in round 12 plus of drafts. And if you punt on tight end, which I am doing quite often, I'm punting on tight end. This is the other reason I put Brenton Strange as my ride or die this season, because it's also just, I'm riding and dying on the elite tight end or punt strategy this year. And when I say punt, like, I'm really punting. You'll see in this draft I'm doing now, haven't taken a tight end. Like, I'm not going to reach for a tight end in the mid rounds just because I haven't taken a tight end. If I don't get Bowers or McBride or Kittle, I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait for a very long time. And in a lot of my drafts, most of my high stakes drafts I've done this year, if I don't get McBride, Bowers, or Kittle, I like all those guys, honestly, where they're generally getting picked in drafts. But if I don't get one of those 3 guys, I'm going to be the last person in my draft to take a tight end. And a lot of times it's going to be Brenton Strange. And I'll get Brenton Strange and maybe one other tight end. Like, he doesn't need to be my only tight end either. And I can invest the least possible draft capital in all my drafts in tight end and still get a guy that can get 10 plus PPR points every week. Every game he has at least 3 targets, which I think is going to be most games. Brenton Strange is like a really strong prospect too. 2nd round pick. Really good size adjusted athleticism. Yeah, he was picked in the 2nd round just a year or 2 ago. Yeah, he's had 2 seasons now. Last year was his first like real season with a real role. And again, he did good in the games. He had at least 3 targets. So yeah, I'm in on Strange. Like, how much different is Brenton Strange really from like a lot of these tight ends going in the middle round? I just don't think he's that much different, that much riskier, that much better or worse. So yeah, I'm in on Strange, man. He's getting undrafted in a bunch of leagues. Strange and Ferguson. Yeah, Strange, Ferguson. I like pairing Strange with Loveland or Strange with Warren too. If I punt tight end, it's been annoying. Like, I feel like Warren's starting to go earlier and earlier. Like, I don't feel amazing taking Warren right next to Kelsey and like ahead of Hawkinson, like where he's going, where he went in this draft. It's a steep price, man. I'd much rather just wait and continue waiting and then just take Brenton Strange. And in these best ball drafts, I have a lot of dusty 3 tight end builds. All right, we took Caleb Johnson with the last pick and Jalen Warren with the next one. And we're back on the clock here. Trevor Lawrence. Going Jake Ferguson. And then we're going to take Trevor Lawrence. Start building these stacks. I can take Sam Darnold late in this one as well because I did get JSN. But yeah, typically I'm trying to end these drafts with 3 QBs and 3 tight ends for the optimal roster construction. See this guy that started 5 receivers. He's been hammering running backs, quarterback, tight end since as well. We're both doing something somewhat similar here. He goes with Stroud though, an unstacked Stroud. Don't like how his team is really shaped up really since his start. Still some stackable receivers though for Stroud later in the draft. We're going to take Trevor Lawrence here with this pick. Since we got Travis Hunter. Yeah, I think Strange versus Ferguson week 1 is probably Ferguson, but it's close. Wouldn't be shocked at all if it ends up being Strange. Yeah, I personally, in PPR leagues, I lean Henderson. If it's not a PPR league, I think it has to be Hampton. But it's close. And I think most rankings will have Hampton. I think our rankings still have Hampton. How do you feel about DeAndre Swift? Yeah, I think he'll have a decent receiving role. DeAndre Swift has never, in his entire career, had under 12 PPR points per game. Never. That's 5 straight years. Actually, 12 and a half PPR points per game. He's never finished outside the top 24 running backs in PPR points per game. Ever. And I think he'll benefit a lot from Ben Johnson too. And part of the reason is because he catches passes. He's had at least 6 touchdowns in every season. He's had at least 40 receptions basically in every season of his career. Last season was the first season too that he played 17 games. But I'm a little skeptical of like what's the real ceiling for Swift. Because I don't think he's like a true workhorse running back where he's going to get like a ton of carries and catches. He only has 1 season ever over 1,000 rushing yards. I don't think he's going to be the primary goal line back on the team, but like he's definitely a somewhat safe pick with the receiving role and I think the improved Bears offense. Ian, it depends on your settings, your roster settings. Part of the reason the WalterPicks app is so powerful is it's adjusting for your specific league roster and scoring settings. So the deeper starting roster you have, like if you start 3 receivers instead of 2, or you have 2 or 3 flexes instead of 1, tight end gets way less valuable because the replacement player at these other positions gets worse. And it's more important to get like good receivers, good running backs early. But yeah, I think the top tier tight ends, like where they're going in traditional drafts, they're all reasonable picks at their costs. Bowers, where he went in this draft, middle of round 2. McBride, end of round 2, early round 3. And then Kittle, like mid to late round 3, early round 4. All those guys, I'm fine taking them there, honestly. And if I don't get one of these 3, though, I'm punting the position like really, really far. And no one really reached in this draft. Like in the home league draft, so you'll see a lot of the guys that went in this range here of this draft, Laporta, Kelsey, Warren, Ingram, Andrews, Hawkins, and people will start reaching in rounds 4, 5, 6. And you definitely don't want to do that. Again, Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt, pick 8, round 8. Joe Mixon gets taken in round 12. No one's taking Quinshon Judkins yet, but I bet he gets picked soon based on last draft. If I'm in 11, I'm 11 in a 12-man PPR. Should I go wide receiver, running back, and then focus receivers? If I can start 2 in each and flex, yeah, I'm fine starting running back. I think it'd pick 11 too. Like you do have to consider wide receiver with these range of receivers. But yeah, going running back receivers is a pretty safe start too. And then you're looking at Henderson, Hampton, round 3, round 4. If Henderson's going to round 4 of your draft, I think it's an absolute smash. There goes Judkins, another person just burning picks out here with Mixon and Judkins around 11, round 12. Super close, Benji. Yeah, we have Lamar ranked just ahead, just because statistically he was better than Allen last year, and he's the greatest rushing quarterback of all time. But it's super close. Like it's definitely a flip a coin situation, in my opinion. So I'd say choose the guy that you prefer. But I give the slight lean to Lamar myself as well, similar to our projections. All right, back on the clock here. I think we go Tootin. Really good zero running back pick. Definitely will consider Benson as well. I do like Bryce as a third quarterback option too. I also have Lawrence, so I got to consider Strange. We might go Tootin Strange here. And then punt quarterback one more round, just grab Darnold to stack with JSN. God, I've drafted Sam Darnold so much more than I would have expected heading into this draft season, just because he's like the last, for sure, starting QB available that is like stackable if I get JSN. I have like no confidence in Darnold either. There goes Benson. Yeah, I'm going Henderson over DJ Moore like pretty easily. Thoughts on Mason Taylor? Yeah, a lot of people are excited for Mason Taylor. I'm not super excited about him, especially like this season. He projects for a real role on a team that just has like no pass catchers after Garrett Wilson. I was talking earlier. I think Breece Hall is probably the number 2 receiver on the Jets. I took Breece Hall in this draft, partially for that reason. He's falling to round 4, round 5 now. There goes Douglas. I think we got to go Strange. I definitely would much rather have Bryce Young than Sam Darnold. I have no other Bryce Young pass catchers though. Leggett and oh man, we gotta go Strange. I'll answer that Tootin and Blue question there in a second. Can't hype Brenton Strange up that much on the live and then not stack him with Lawrence. But yeah, I do like Tootin more than Jaden Blue by like a decent margin. Obviously, like somewhat similar. Where'd Jaden Blue get picked in this draft? Is he not picked yet? About to get picked? I think I might have just saw him. Yeah, he's about to get picked. He's next up in ADP. He's dealing with injuries. I think he'll be back. Yeah, he's back in practice today. He does have a pretty tough history of injuries. But yeah, to me too, like Tootin is a much higher ceiling pick than Jaden Blue. Jaden Blue, I think in our profiles in the WalterPicks app, we did like detailed rookie analysis this year and put up player comparisons, like historical player prospect comparisons, and like just detailed breakdowns of these guys from their college days and what their draft capital means and their landing spot means. That's all for free in the WalterPicks app rookie guide. Jaden Blue is like a Nyheim Hines type, like maybe a Nyheim Hines plus, like a pure scat back though. Like the ideal world for Jaden Blue is he's like a Darren Sproles. And Darren Sproles had like at least one like really good fantasy season, like a really strong receiving back on a team that's not going to run the ball a ton. That's the story for Jaden Blue. But Tootin, he's also a really good receiving back, but like I think just way more upside as a rusher, like a true workhorse upside. And I don't think Tootin, like if you ask me who's going to score more fantasy points week 1, I might say Jaden Blue there. Like I think his role might be a little bit more defined. Tootin's in a pretty ambiguous situation. Like Travis Etienne and Tank Bigsby are going to have legit roles on this team. I think LaQuint Allen might play too for the Jaguars. But in the case where Tootin hits, I think he's going to be a top 12 running back in PPR leagues. Like, I think that's his ceiling. I think a really, really high ceiling as both a runner and as a receiver. On an offense with Liam Cohen that just had Bucky Irving look amazing last year, like, I think Tootin's going to be really exciting. And I don't think he's going to be like out of the gates this guy that you can instantly start like in the first month of the season. And like Blue maybe in PPR leagues is going to be somewhat like a little bit more standalone value. Wouldn't be that shocking. But yeah, Breece Hall Tootin, I'm very high on. And I think down the stretch, like, has just a better chance to win leagues down the stretch as both a runner and a receiver, whereas to me, Blue is like just more of a pure receiver. Yeah, I'm mostly out on Bigsby. Another one of these guys, he's just not going to catch passes. So it's just a very one-dimensional outcome. Like, you just need, like, Tank Bigsby just needs to smash in the touchdown column in like a 2 or 3 way backfield if he's not going to catch passes. Again, I'm like purely always thinking PPR leagues because all my leagues are PPR leagues. Man, Bryce Young is a really good pick here. We're going to have to take Darnold. Disgusting. I don't think we really have any other stackable players. Or we could go Rodgers. We do have Warren and Caleb Johnson, and there's some stackable players late with Rodgers. Just probably equally as gross as Darnold. Maybe honestly a little grosser because he is going to be on a much more run-heavy offense. Tootin or Brenton Strange on bench. Yeah, I'd probably prefer Tootin on the bench than Brenton Strange. Depends who your first tight end was, too, that you took. But like bench tight end players are typically just like not worth a ton. Whereas like Tootin on your bench, I think Tootin's got a better like league winning outcome than Strange does. We got 4 running backs, 5 receivers. And Sam Darnold got sniped. How many QBs do these guys have? 2 and 2. Yeah, we got to take Rodgers. Disgusting. Do like Tyler Algier as a 0 running back pick. Do like Dowdle. Chris Rodriguez, too. I probably just got to keep taking these running backs. All right. These tight ends. Wait, definitely at least one more round at tight end. I already have 2. Only need 1 more. Probably will stop at 7 receivers in this draft too and take 7 running backs. Since I started so receiver heavy. It's going to be so tough to find receivers at this point that are going to outscore these guys if my team is actually going to be good. Yeah, we'll take Tyler Algier. Really, really good 0 running back pick. 1 injury away from just smashing. This is the thing with 0 running back builds, especially in best ball. Where like Tyler Algier, he can have like a couple usable weeks without an injury. But if Bijan gets hurt, like this team is going to be almost impossible to beat. If it just suddenly I have like a top 12 running back that I got in round 15, this is where 0 running back, like the tail end upside outcomes with these 0 running back teams. Same thing if Tootin ends up smashing. These teams just end up being almost impossible to beat because you have these elite receivers and these like really cheap league winning running backs. I think it's easier to find league winning running backs at this range of the draft than any other position because they're just 1 injury away from absolutely smashing. That's basically the whole thesis behind 0 running back. What do you think about Nick Chubb as a week 1 starter if you have no running backs? Yeah, it's pretty gross. No, it's pretty gross. Pretty gross. Probably the worst offensive line in the league, if not the second or third worst. Love the app. I use it for start sits. Appreciate you, man. Yeah, the best place for start sit analysis, definitely for draft analysis if you still have drafts going, it's the WalterPicks app. Do appreciate that shout. It's a free app, dude. You can literally try it for free. So many of the features are free. Too many of them are free, in my opinion. The premium subscription is obviously well worth it too. Pearsall versus DJ Moore. Yeah, it's a close one, man. Pearsall, we got to see still if Juwan Jennings is going to play week 1. If Juwan Jennings doesn't play week 1, you have to start Pearsall, like in basically all situations. If Jennings plays week 1, he's still going to be a tough guy to bench. They're playing the Seahawks week 1. The Bears get the Vikings. Like I do like DJ Moore in that environment too. If Jennings plays, you probably have to start DJ Moore on Monday night. But if Jennings doesn't play, I don't know how you bench Pearsall. Like I don't know how we're going to bench Pearsall. I got Pearsall as my 4th receiver in my draft last night, and I think I might start him in that league too, even though I didn't draft him as a starter. He's way too low on Yahoo. I feel like on ESPN and Sleeper too, he's just been too low. Yeah, I would not let this Rocket Sanders signing change anything. He's probably not going to touch the ball at all. He might not even be active on game days. Like it's more of like insurance if Najee can't play week 1, I think, than anything. I'm not. I like Hampton in round 3 for sure. Yeah, we have. Let me pull up the Chargers depth chart here. I don't think we have Sanders projected for a single touch in week 1. That's what I would expect. Trade JMO for Ridley. It's pretty close. Pretty close. I took JMO, I think, over Ridley in the last draft I was in. See, in this draft I'm in right now too. Yeah, JMO went before Ridley in this one too. Or back on the clock. Chris Rodriguez got sniped. Guess we go Taj Brooks. Take De'Ami Brown because I have Trevor Lawrence. I'm probably overstacking Lawrence here, but I do like De'Ami Brown late. I think we go Taj Brooks next. Taj Brooks or Giddens. Did Tesla get taken? I think he did. Wow, we got picked in round 14. I think we go Giddens with this next pick since that's who the Jaguars playing week 17. Got 3-6-6-2. We got 3 picks left, 1 running back, 1 receiver, 1 tight end. Got basically the entire Jaguars team stacked. Pretty big Cowboy stack running here too. They played the Commanders. I should have tried to get Chris Rodriguez in week 17. Traded Amon-Ra, Goff, and Etienne for Burrow and Neighbors. Yeah, it's a great deal. Love that. Upgraded QB big time, upgraded receiver big time. What do you think of Harvey? I'm in on RJ Harvey. Yep, I think RJ Harvey's ceiling's massive. Absolutely massive. Sutton and DJ Moore to get, yep, I would do that too. I love packaging the 2-for-1 deals where you're getting by far the best player in the trade. It's why we have a best player bonus in the trade analyzer in the WalterPicks app. You got to check out the WalterPicks app, by the way, guys. It is a free app on the App Store. Spent the last 5 years of my life helping build this app. It is going to help you in fantasy all season. It's going to help you with player props all season as well. And a little sneak peek for those of you guys on the TikTok live. We got college football insights coming to the WalterPicks app very, very soon, probably in the next week. Pumped for that as well. JCM or Keon Coleman. Yeah, personally, I like Coleman more. I think a lot of people would tell you JCM there, though. I think JCM Yeah, he went 2 picks before and Coleman in this draft. I'm doing live on YouTube right now. If you guys are still in the YouTube live, by the way, make sure you hit that like button. We're almost at the end of the live. Helps me out a ton. Even after the live, it helps the YouTube channel out a lot. We're going to be posting a lot of content on YouTube this season. We got daily content going out on TikTok and Instagram already, like we have for the last many years. But YouTube this season, we're going to be posting weekly game by game episodes and weekly before the games, game by game episodes, and then after the games coming out hopefully on Mondays. We're gonna do weekly team by team recaps and takeaways for every team after every game. We're gonna have live streams every Thursday night, live streams every Sunday morning. It's gonna be a great season. Darnell Washington, it just got picked in round 18. What does that guy know that we do not know? What a pick, man. There's still a lot of edge here to get in these DraftKings best ball drafts. 49ers GM John Lynch said the team is hopeful but not sure on week 1. When asked about Jawan Jennings' calf. Jacob Cowling goes on injured reserve. Najee has a possibility to play week 1, which actually seems like a positive update. The Chargers don't even have Raheem Sanders anymore. The Browns claimed him. Javon Baker got cut from the Patriots. Jalen Polk seemingly is going to miss the whole season with a shoulder injury that he got surgery on. Take Tosh Brooks here as my last running back. He fell pretty far there. Definitely still like the ceiling for Taj Brooks. And then we'll take Malik Washington probably next. Theo Johnson, Darren Waller, Malik Washington. Honestly, I might go Theo Johnson here. That's my third tight end. Then just one receiver. Rasheed or Jamo? Yeah, it's Jamo over Rasheed. It's obviously Rasheed when he's playing, but thoughts on Jalen Coker with the Adam Thielen trade? Yeah, he jumped probably the most in the rankings from that trade of any player. I mean, he definitely benefits like massively. I think both Coker and Leggett should probably be rostered in like every 12-team fantasy league now. I don't think that was really the case before. But yeah, both those guys are going to be playing huge snap percentages now. And Coker, like to me, I like him even a little bit more than Leggett. I think his connection with Bryce last year was stronger than the connection with Bryce and Leggett. And Leggett played more than Coker last year over the course of the season. All right, we're going to go. I think we got to go Theo Johnson. He's a little bit more likely to fall to me at my next pick. Yeah, we're going to go Theo, though, because there's still some Steelers receivers I could take with this Rodgers stack. We can either go with Roman Wilson or with Calvin Austin. Take Booty late. I don't donate him. Could take a Commanders receiver. The bring back against the Cowboys. Gallup got released. Jalen Lane also definitely an interesting one. Not too many people talking about Jalen Lane. He was a 4th-round pick. '97th percentile speed out of Virginia Tech, 4th-round pick. Definitely an interesting one. All right, let's get any final comments here in this live as we wrap up. Hype for the season. I'm pumped, man. It's the best time of year. Does not get better, man, than this time of year. I got a couple of drafts left. I got one of my high stakes drafts actually tonight. So I got to hop off the live, eat some dinner ahead of my draft. I think I got only 2 left, honestly, of my high stakes leagues left. Should I just run all rookie running backs if I get the chance, or add some veterans just in case? Yeah, I got serious rookie fever this year, and specifically with the running back class. I totally agree. The rookie running back class, I think, is still getting a little underrated by the masses. Like, so many rookie running backs in this class that have a path to winning leagues. And Taj Brooks, DJ Giddens, I just took two of them here. Like, there are two of them. They both are probably an injury away, but like really talented profiles from both these guys, even though they went pretty late in the NFL draft. But even as you go up the list, guys like two, look, I took a bunch of them in this draft. I took Caleb Johnson too. Caleb Johnson is probably the guy near the top of drafts, rookie running back wise, that I'm most nervous about, which is why I took Warren here too. I could just take Kenneth Gainwell too if I wanted to. I think I mentioned I might do that earlier in the draft. But yeah, Henderson, Hampton, Genty, these are absolute locks, I think, to be very, very valuable in fantasy. RJ Harvey, I'm very high on as well. I'm kind of out on Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt at his cost, Bill Krosky-Merritt. But, I mean, there's definitely an exciting profile and opportunity there. Cam Scatterbo definitely has potential. Dylan Sampson's probably being a bit underrated. Jaden Blue has at least a good pass-catching profile. Woody Marks is probably the best receiving back on the Texans. And Joe Mixon might not play the whole season. Brashard Smith is going to be like a Jerick McKinnon type player. I think he's going to start out as just a kick returner. But he's an injury or two away from being like a legit exciting player in fantasy. And then we already mentioned Taj Brooks, DJ Giddens, Kyle Monungai seemingly has a real role on the Bears. Like, there's just so many of them. So many of them. So yeah, I think the rookie running backs are smart, especially late in drafts this year. The ceiling floor for Chuba. Yeah, I feel like the floor is probably like a back end running back too. But like, what's the ceiling? I feel like the ceiling is like a high end running back too. Like running back 13, 14, 15. I mean, last year, if he's not going to catch passes, like, what's the real ceiling in a PPR league? Last year, he was running back 13. He scored 11 touchdowns and had 43 catches. And he's now the third best receiving back on his own team. I don't think he's matching the ranking 3 in snap percentage, getting like 12% of the targets. Roman Wilson versus Calvin Austin. What's this injury for Calvin Austin? Abdomen. Here we go, Roman Wilson. All right, that wraps it up for the draft here. Yeah, to me, the ceiling is it's a little capped on Chuba Hubbard. He's going to need an insane touchdown season to really smash if he's not going to catch passes. Trade Sutton for Kamara. Pretty fair trade. I'd probably lean towards W here, especially if you need a running back. But it's fair. I think they're getting picked around the same. I think Kamara goes a little earlier. From a flex, yeah. I don't hate it. I'd lean W. I'd lean W overall, but it's not like an obvious W. That's my time, guys. Thanks so much for tuning in. I think I'll be back live for my last draft season live of the year on Friday. And then I'll see you guys all on Sunday morning, the first Sunday morning live of the year. Have a good night, everyone. Time is the most valuable thing we have. Thanks for spending some time with me tonight. Good luck in your drafts, everyone, and I'll see you all super soon.